Your first script. Now that you have your own server, whether it's local or it's hosted, we can actually start to work on our PHP. PHP, just like JavaScript, needs to be open and closed before we can use it. And that's called our syntax. PHP has a clean syntax and it has two methods. Let's look at the original method first. The original PHP syntax is the preferred method for many web developers because not everybody can use the shorthand method. The PHP syntax looks like this. We have our less than, question mark, PHP. Our code goes inside here, and then we use a question mark and a greater than sign. So to open our PHP, we use this. And to close it, we use this. The shorthand method, which really isn't that much shorter if you want to break it down, it's only 3 letters shorter, looks like this. Less than, question mark, your code inside, question mark, greater than. Now, as stated earlier, the original syntax is preferred. This is mainly due to the fact that we don't know if someone else's server allows the use of shorthand syntax. Plus, it's not really that much work to type the original syntax anyways. Now let's actually look at our first script here. Now that we know how to open and close an area where our PHP will go, it's time we wrote our first server-side script. Everything up until now has not been server-side. It has been what's called client-side, meaning it actually happens on the user's browser. When the user accesses the website, or you view your own website in this case, everything in here is going to actually happen on the server, and it has nothing to do with your browser. In PHP, when we want to write anything to the server, we use the echo construct. This is not a function, even though it can be written as one. So here we have our opening syntax, our closing syntax, echo, we have a space in there, quotation, that's because this is going to be a string, and then what we want in there, followed by a semicolon. Now I'm going to stress right now, and I'm going to stress this for quite a while, that the use of semicolons is absolutely mandatory. If you forget a semicolon, your PHP will not work. So if you go ahead and you throw this script into a .php file, you upload it or you access it locally, this is just going to write hello world right on your page. Now one of the great features of PHP is that we can actually use PHP anywhere in our HTML. And if we place our PHP inside any HTML, that's exactly where it will be. What I mean is if we have a div element and a closing div tag there, inside says red border, we could write PHP echo, and we could just write our style in there. And this is our CSS, border, colon, 1 pixel solid red, and that will show a red border. And just to make this work here, that's what it will show up with, a red border. Now if we wanted to quickly echo something, there is such thing as a quick echo as well. If you want to quickly echo anything anywhere, we can use a shorthand method for doing so. Note, you must have short open tags enabled on your server. If your server does not allow short open tags, or the short syntax, this will not work. To write a shorthand echo, or a quick echo, you can write it like this. This is our syntax here, and then our string. Again, we have a semicolon right after it, and then our closing syntax. Notice the lack of spaces. There are no spaces in there. Now you should only use this when you need to echo something, and there are no other functions or constructs involved. Meaning, don't put in here anything else like our JavaScript function of $sign as our selector. Don't use any sort of function in here. This is strictly to quickly echo something onto the page. Semicolons. When should you use semicolons? You should use them after every single line, and you should use them after every single statement. JavaScript and jQuery were pretty forgiving when it comes to using semicolons. PHP is not forgiving in this manner. If you forget a semicolon, your code will not work. Actually, your entire page could be messed up because of this. And over the next few videos, I will be referring to the semicolons all the time, just so that we can get very familiar with it. This, how PHP needs semicolons, is the reason why we wrote all the semicolons in JavaScript as well. We didn't need to do all those ones in JavaScript, but it did prepare us for PHP, and hopefully the semicolon habit has been created within you. Now let's look at some homework. Homework is optional. If you do choose to do the homework, good for you. This is great practice. And throughout our PHP, our homework is actually going to get more and more difficult. So first, create a new file, save it as hello_world.php, then upload your file or access it through your localhost server. Once you figured out how to get to your first .php file, which is hello_world.php, open hello_world.php in your editor if you haven't already. Then open the PHP syntax, write an echo construct such as hello world. Notice the use of the semicolon here. Close the syntax, reload hello_world.php in your browser. If all went well, your page should have echoed exactly what you told it to. If it did, then congratulations, you just created your first server-side script. If it didn't work out the way you wanted to, you can rewind this video and you can actually copy my first hello world code right into your page, and then you can start manipulating it that way and learn through experimentation.